Today's lesson, we are going to be converting using the metric system. And for this particular activity, to start off, we're going to be converting between centimeters and meters. This should be a little bit of a review. So the way this is going to work is I'm going to give you time to answer the question, and then I'm going to go through the response and answer it together. So the example here says, how many centimeters are in 4 meters? In order to be able to convert between different sizes of lengths, you need to have the conversion. So this tells you that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters, and that's going to be our key conversion that we need to know in order to convert centimeters to meters. So you'll see here that this is an example of a meter stick. Obviously not at the right size, but it shows that there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter. So if I have 4 of them, we have 4 groups of 100. So that's 100, 100, 100, 100, or 4 times 100, which is 400 centimeters. So if you look at question 1, it says, which is the smaller unit, meter or centimeters? Since there are 100 centimeters in a meter, that means it's centimeters smaller. How can you find how many centimeters are in 5 meters? Well, if there's 100 centimeters in 1 meter, that means if we have 5 meters, we need to take our 5 meters and multiply that by 100 to get 500 centimeters. So there's 500 centimeters in 5 meters. If we wanted to complete a table, so we could actually show the relationship between meters and centimeters by creating a table. Let's go ahead and complete this table. So we know each time we convert between meters to centimeters, we need to multiply by 100. So if I have 5 meters, it's 500 centimeters, 600, 700, and 8 meters is 800. If we wanted to write an expression that shows how to convert any number of meters to centimeters, it says use M to stand for the number of meters. Well, this is just like writing the rules that we did for the input-output tables the other day. So we're starting with 1 and going to 100, to 200. So each time it's multiplying by 100. So whatever the number of meters is, which is M, if you multiply that by 100, that's going to tell you how many centimeters it was. So the next question is a perfect example. Use the expression you wrote in problem 5 to find the number of centimeters in 9 meters. Well, each time I convert meters to centimeters, I multiply by 100. So that gives me 900 centimeters in 9 meters. Let's continue. This next part we're going to look at is milliliters. When you're working with liters, you're actually measuring the volume of things or how much liquid is in something. So I think of like liters of soda or liters of water or liters of gasoline. We normally use gallons here, but if you go out at the country, they'll have liters of gasoline. So the conversion, if you look at this table, what is the conversion between liters to milliliters? And then let's use that conversion to finish the table. So we see that 1 liter is equal to 1,000 milliliters. So each time you have another liter, you have another 1,000 milliliters. So if I have 5 liters, that's multiplied by 1,000, it's 5,000. 6 is 6,000. 7 liters is 7,000 milliliters. 8 is 8,000 milliliters. So you can continue that pattern multiplying by 1,000. Which goes to question 8. Write an equation to describe the relationship between each pair of numbers in the table. So I'm looking at my meters to my liters to my milliliters, and I see that I'm multiplying by 1,000 each time. So whatever the liters are, I multiply by 1,000, and that's going to tell me how many milliliters there are. The next question says, use the equation you wrote in problem 8. How many milliliters are in 9 liters? Well, I'm just going to plug in 9 for my L, which is liters. So I have 9 liters times 1,000 gives me 9,000 milliliters. Notice how I'm writing my labels. Labels are going to be very important when you're using units of measure because if you don't have your label, then I don't know whether you're referring it to liters or milliliters or kiloliters. So labels are going to be very important for us to put our units. Question 10 says Jack's bicycle has a mass of 9 kilograms. What is the mass of Jack's bicycle in grams? So grams is another metric unit. We use grams to measure in weight. So in this case, like in America, we use typically pounds or ounces, but a lot of times you might see things in kilograms or grams, especially when you're over in other countries. Or if you order something from a website from another country. So if the mass is 9 kilograms and we're trying to figure out how many grams that is, we see that 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams. So that means 9 kilograms, and you'll see that as kg as a shortcut. That is equal to, 1,000 9 times. So instead of adding 1,000 9 times, I can do 9 times 1,000, 9 groups of 1,000, which gives me 9,000 grams. Question 11 says, look at the problem 10. Jack's little sister has a tricycle that has a mass of 7 kilograms. How much greater is the mass of Jack's bicycle in grams than his sister's tricycle? So let's go ahead and take a look here. There's a couple different ways you can solve this problem. We need to find out how much greater is the mass of Jack's bicycle. So I need to figure out the difference between the two weights. So I see that Jack's bicycle, I'm going to put a J for Jack, was 9 kilograms, and his sister, I'll put an S for his sister, is 7 kilograms. Well, in order to find the difference between them, I can go ahead and subtract. So I see that Jack's bike is 2 kilograms more than his sister. But that doesn't answer the question, because the question here is asking you in grams. So what I need to do is I need to use the idea that 1 kilogram is equal to 1,000 grams to convert it to grams. So, I don't know what happened there. So since 2 kilograms, I have 2 kilograms, that's 2 groups of 1,000, which gives me 2,000 grams. So Jack's bike is 2,000 grams more than his sister's bike. So today what we're going to be doing, that was just a little review. Hopefully you were able to be familiar with those, but we're going to continue doing a little mini lesson on converting metric units of length. And this is what you're going to be practicing today. So you'll see here that in order to convert metric units of length, you have to understand what the conversions are. I'm not going to have you necessarily need to memorize them because there's conversion charts that I'm going to provide for you. But with the metric system, there's a unit, a base unit. And they make it really, really nice because in order to change the size of the amount of what you're working with, they just add a prefix to the front of the base, and that will change the size that you're working with. So we're going to be focusing on units of length today. So that's going to be the base unit meter. However, if I wanted to measure the volume of like an amount of liquid, like a soda bottle, that's measured in liters. And then the base unit for weight is grams. And then all you do to change the size of what you're working with is put a prefix. So for example, if you look right here, I have a couple prefixes. I have, the M stands for meter. That is our base unit. If I have kilo in front, so this actually turns it into, you may hear some people call it kilometers or kilometers, but that means 1,000. Kilo means 1,000. So kilometer or kilometer means 1,000 meters. Centimeter, centi means 1/100th. So centimeter means 1/100th of a meter. Millimeter means 1/1000th. So milli, 1/1000th, millimeter means 1/1000th of a meter. And we're going to be using these measurements to help us. So 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. 1 meter is equal to 1,000 millimeters. 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. And 1 centimeter is equal to, 10 millimeters. So just to kind of help you give you an idea of the sizes of these different things that we're working with, if you're working with a millimeter is actually about the thickness of a regular paper clip. So not the length of a paper clip, but the thickness of it. A centimeter is about the typical thickness of somebody's pinky. So that's the size that we're dealing with. A meter is about the size, a little bit bigger than a yardstick. And a kilometer is a little bit more than a half of a mile. So when you measure something in kilometers, you're measuring something that's pretty long. So when you're choosing what measurement, you measure different things in different sizes based off of the size of the thing that you're measuring. So for example, if I was measuring how many, let's see, what would be a good example? If I was measuring my height, I would probably want to measure that in meters compared to millimeters. Think about the thickness of a paperclip. That would be ridiculous, the amount of millimeters. It really wouldn't make much sense to me. So we're going to practice going through and converting using our conversion chart to help us with some conversions. So the first example here is 3 meters is equal to how many centimeters? So I can go up to my chart and see that, well, I see that 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters. So if I have 3 meters, that means I have 100, 100, 100. So in other words, I can take my 3 meters and multiply it by 100, and that will tell me how many centimeters I have. So 3 meters is equal to 300 centimeters. The second one is also meters to centimeters. So what's nice is when you're going from meters to centimeters, I know I need to multiply by 10 or by 100. So if I have 10 meters and I'm saying 100 meters or centimeters is in 1 meter, that means I'm doing 10 times 100 to find out how many centimeters it is. Well, 10 times 100, we can use our base 10 when we're multiplying by 100. The trick is you can attach 2 zeros at the end. So that gives me 1,000 centimeters is equal to 100. Or sorry, 1,000 centimeters is equal to 10 meters. For number 3, we have 9 kilometers is equal to how many meters? So I'm going to go up here and look at which conversion can help me with this. And I see that 1 kilometer is equal to 1,000 meters. So I have 9 groups of 1,000. So once again, I'm going to be multiplying. Got to zoom this down a little bit. Oops. I have to click on the hand to drag it down. There we go. So 9 kilometers, I need to multiply by 1,000 because I have 9 groups of 1,000, and that's going to tell me that there are 9,000 meters in 9 kilometers. Number 4, I have 400 centimeters is how many meters? Well, if you think about this one, this is the first time where I have a smaller unit. Centimeters are smaller than meters. So if I look up at my chart here, I see that 1 centimeter or 100 centimeters is equal to 1 meter. Well, in this case, I have 400 centimeters. So I want to put my 400 centimeters into groups of 100 to figure out how many meters that is. So in order to do that, I need to actually divide by 100 to put them in groups of 100. And 400 divided by 100 gives me 4 meters. So there's 4 meters is equal to 400 centimeters. And I can check that by thinking backwards, like, okay, so if I'm dividing 400 divided by 100 to get 4, then to check if I undo my division by multiplying by 100, 4 groups of 100 gives me 400 centimeters. So that's just a way you can check your work. Let's look at number 5. 50 millimeters is equal to how many centimeters? So I have 1 centimeter is equal to 10 millimeters. Well, I have 50 millimeters. So in order to figure out how many centimeters that is, I need to put it in groups of 10. So when I put something in groups of 10, I'm going to divide because I'm putting them into equal groups of 10. So 50 divided by 10 is going to give me 5 centimeters. And the last one I have here is 8,000 millimeters is equal to how many meters? So I'm going to go up to my millimeters to meters conversion, and I'm learning that 1 millimeter is equal to 1,000 meters. So if I have 8,000 meters, I have to put them in groups of 1,000 to figure out how many meters I have. So if I divide by 1,000, then I have 8,000 divided by 1,000. That gives me 8 meters. And I can check that by saying, okay, well, 8 meters times 1,000 millimeters in each meter gives me 8,000 millimeters. So today we're going to be practicing just using whole numbers and using a conversion chart, going back and forth to convert the numbers. Later in the week, we're going to be then taking a look at numbers in decimal form and talking about how we can use what we know about our base 10 system and multiplying by powers of 10 and dividing by powers of 10 in order to do our conversions.